Hi everyone, it's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about some little tips that you can use to list faster on eBay. So I know that listing on eBay, the actual act of listing on eBay, is kind of a pain point for sellers, right? Resellers, we like the hunt. We like finding the things that we know that we could sell for a profit. We might even like taking the pictures. We might like the entire process of shipping, but sometimes the act of listing it, getting it on the platform in order for it to sell, sometimes the hardest part. And it's sometimes the hardest part, I think, because it can take a really long time and it starts to become really redundant. It's like the same process over and over and over again. And we want to go do the fun stuff. We want to do the stuff that's away from the computer. And so I wanted to give you some tips to make listing go a little bit faster and hopefully make it a little bit more enjoyable. I have tried numerous methods of listing since I've been full-time for the last 4 years, and I have found some little tricks and things that I find make the act of listing a lot smoother and a lot faster. So here they are. My first tip is to make sure that the items that you're going to list have already been cleaned and prepped and they are ready to go. One of the constant complaints that I hear from people is that it takes them forever to get an item listed. One of the first ways that you can speed up the listing process is to have your item cleaned and prepped and ready to go when you want to sit down and list it. Because if you have an entire box of merchandise that you got from a garage sale and it's all dirty and dingy, or you have items that are covered in stickers because maybe you got it off of liquidation, the act of having to take off the stickers during the listing process can really slow things down. So before you even start listing, make sure to have all of the items set aside. Wipe them down if you need to have them all wiped down, or remove all of the stickers if there are stickers that need to be taken off. That way, when you sit down to list, you don't have to worry about cleaning or prepping the items at all. The next thing that I recommend is that you have a clean working area. It is very difficult to enjoy the process and list efficiently if you have a really cluttered workspace. So that doesn't mean that the room that you're working in has to be completely spotless, but at least have your desk cleared off so that you have nice elbow room and you're not knocking things over. You know, make sure that you have an area to sit the item that you're listing. Make sure that the area that you need to photograph the item is nice and clear. That way you can be productive and not get frustrated and stressed out bumping into clutter. I know sometimes we have the mindset that we just need to hurry up and get it done and we don't have time to clean up the workspace first, but I'm telling you, even 5 minutes to declutter your desk really quickly can help speed up your efficiency, because when it's clutter-free, you can work faster. Another tip that I have is to work in batches. I cannot remember the last time I list an item from start to finish. I always work in batches. So I did a video on my entire new updated listing system. I will link it up here, but in that video, I talk about the different batches that I do, because I do not just sit down with items and list them from start to finish, because I don't think I would be able to get as much stuff up as quickly if I was doing that, because I really don't have long streams of time to work with. You know, right now I have kids home all day. I learned this new system during the pandemic because I started noticing that I was only having, 20 or 30 minute pockets of time where I was able to sit and get things done. And if I was listing things from start to finish, I would probably only be able to get 2 or 3 things up during that time frame. But because I've started working in strategic batches, I've been able to get a lot of items up in those 20 or 30 minute times. As a matter of fact, in this video here, I was able to get up 4 items in 4 minutes just by doing batches. So some of the batches I can do when I'm just sitting in front of the TV winding down for the evening. That'd be like the first step in starting to create the draft. There's no pictures needing to be done. I don't need to have all of the details right then and there. I'm just getting the listing started. And then the next step would be actually checking the listing, making sure that everything is completely accurate. And then the third and final step is actually taking the photographs and setting the listing live. And by the time you do all of these different little tiny batches, by the time you get to the point where you're ready to take the photos and send the listing live, it takes less than 60 seconds to do that. So that's how I personally done it. But I've also spoken with other people that have developed their own batching systems. And that's the thing. This is your business. This is your method of listing. So my suggestion to you is to find a batch system that works. The video that I linked up here shows you how I have chosen to batch my listing process that works efficiently for me, but I know other people that have found different ways of batching their time to make it efficiently for them. For instance, I've spoken with someone else who their batches involve taking pictures of everything first, and then the next step is creating the draft and getting everything ready to go to send it live. And then the third step is actually putting the photos on their computer and dragging and dropping them into the listings and sending the listings live. That is their three-step process, and that is what they have found works the most efficiently for them. So I would suggest that you take the idea of working in batches and find your own personal system that works efficiently for you. And that last suggestion kind of brought me to my next tip, which is take all of your photos together first. Now, again, this is not something that I personally do. However, when I was selling clothing, that is what I did. So now, even though it's not what I do now, when I was selling clothing, it is what I did to list more efficiently. And that was make sure to take all of the pictures all before I even did the listings. That way, when I created the listings, I already had the pictures done and I could actually add them to my listing right on the spot. A problem that I had when I was selling clothing was I would try to create the listing and take the pictures and then add the pictures to the listing all at once. And it would take me 20 minutes to do a single listing. It wasn't efficient at all. It was only when I started taking photos of everything that I wanted to list and then putting them all into a bucket and then taking that bucket and creating the actual listings on eBay with the photos already done and uploaded in the computer, that was when it really helped me speed through the process. So if you don't like taking photos on your phone, for instance, and you like taking them on a digital camera, I would recommend whatever items you intend to list that day, you already have the photographs done and uploaded to your computer. So when you are creating the listings, the files are already there on their computer and you can just drag and drop them into the listing as you're creating it. Again, this is all about finding what systems work best for you. My next tip is to piggyback off of other sellers' listings or piggyback off of your own listings. And if you're not exactly sure what piggybacking means, think of it as hitting the sell similar button. Because what happens is when you go to a listing, whether it's an active current listing or it's a listing that has already sold, if you select the sell similar button, what is going to happen is it's going to almost duplicate that listing into another entire listing. And then basically what you need to do is go in and do your title, make sure all of the item specifics that you want are there, complete the description and price it, and make sure that all of the shipping information is correct, and you're able to send the listing live. The reason why selecting sell similar or piggybacking off of a listing is so much faster is because a lot of the important information is already preloaded into the listing. If you're always starting a listing from scratch over and over again, you're going to have every single field be empty. You're gonna have to do a title from scratch. You're going to have to select the eBay category. You're going to have to make sure that you select the condition. The entire section of the item specifics is going to be empty, and you're gonna have to go in and check mark and use the drop downs and fill in every single little thing. The price is gonna be empty. The shipping section is gonna be empty. And that would be if you're hitting the create a listing button. You're gonna start from scratch every single time, and it's going to take forever. But piggybacking off of a listing is totally allowed, and it speeds up the process. Now you can choose to piggyback off of your own listings if you're listing a whole bunch of similar stuff and you've already created the listing that you want, Or you can piggyback off of other sellers' listings if you are selling an item that is identical to what they're selling, and you're basically just using the data that they have already input into eBay, and then you're changing whatever information you want to change within that listing. But the two things that you cannot duplicate when piggybacking off of a listing, if it's someone else's listing, are the photos and the description. Now, if you're piggybacking off of your own listing, it will automatically put the same pictures in the picture field, and it will put the same description in the description field. But if you're piggybacking off of another seller's listing, you will have to put those in yourself. Which brings me to my next tip, is to make sure that you have description templates ready to go. They're really super simple to make. I'm going to show you right now. So what we need to do is we need to go into some sort of listing. So I'm just going to go into one of my active listings that I already have, because that's the only way that you can get to managing your templates, is you have to be in some sort of a listing, either that you're creating or that you've already created. So I'm just going to select one at random and just click edit. And then in your listing, you're going to scroll down to the description section, come over and click advanced editing. And then here's where your templates are. So we're going to click the drop down. And these are my active templates that I already have created. But what we want to do is we either want to go to create a template or manage templates. So if we go into manage templates, this is where I can edit existing templates, or I can hit create a template. And so now I can name it. I can say, we're going to say just a test. And then this is where you can type in all of your information, right? You could be like, here's the size, and then here's the color, and here's the inseam if you were doing here's the inseam if you were doing clothing. And then you could say, thank you. And then there's your template, and you would hit create. And then of course you do have to hit save in order to save it. And so now I don't want to delete this, so I'm going to come wherever the cursor is, that's where your template's going to appear. So if this was completely empty, the cursor of course would be up here, so you would start at the top. But I'm going to say just a test. It pops up. See, there's all the whatever. So it's all there. So after you save it, you can just select, so you could have every kind of template that you could want. Like I have one for supplements that has a spot for expiration dates. I have one that's scented, which has a little spot for putting a scent. And then I have makeup one that has like a shade section. And then my basic layout is just like basic text. Well, let me delete that now because nobody needs to see that. But see, like this right here was my makeup layout. So let me see, if I go down here, I'll just show you again just for fun. If I click it, this is my makeup template. See, it looks exactly like this does up here. This is where I say repeat of the title, which is this title here that I would just copy and then paste right here. And then I put the size in here, which you could see I already have. And then the shade, I would say it's shade Acme, quantity, and then free shipping. So that is how you create and use a description template. As far as I know, you can have as many description templates as you want. And I only have a few because I typically list the same kind of things. I typically only sell, certain kind of items that require certain kind of information. So I only really have a template for things that have an expiration date, or a template for things that are scented so that I could put what scent it is, or an item that has a color and I could say what shade it is. And then I also have like a basic one if I'm just selling something that's general merchandise and I just want to type in any specifics. But having all of that stuff already prepared in a template saves me so much time. And it's even faster than if I had a notepad, because I know sometimes people do that if they don't want to fiddle with having a template set up, or if they don't know how to create a template, they'll just have like a notepad and they'll just copy and paste it in. Having a template already ready to go within eBay is even faster than that because you don't have to switch to a notepad, copy and paste. It's so much faster. So if you don't already use description templates, I highly recommend it. Which brings me to my next tip. If you do not want to piggyback off of other listings, at least have listing templates available. Now, there's a difference between a listing template and a description template. So a listing template is creating basics for certain kind of listings. For instance, I did this when I had clothing that I was selling. I had one listing template that was for dresses. I had another listing template that was for jeans. I had another one that was for jackets, and so on and so forth. Now, this is completely different from a description template because you can actually have a description template already in the listing ready to go. Now, I used these listing templates every single time when I was selling jeans because I was selling so many jeans, I was listing so many jeans, and I had a basic template, I had a basic title of what I wanted, the description was already ready to go, the pricing was already ready to go, the shipping was done. The listing templates can really speed things up if you're selling a lot of very, very similar products. And I'll show you how to do that right now too. Now, in your active listing section over here on the left-hand side, you will see a place to select listing templates. So just click on that. And these are all of the templates that I have personally created over the years. Now, if you wanted to start a new template from scratch, you would just come up here and click create new template. But I don't want to create a brand new template right now because I feel like that would just take too much time during the video. So I'm going to click edit of one that I already have listed just so I can show you. So you'd put your template name in there. If you want to have a specific kind of title or something specific in the title, you could put that up there to be saved if you wanted. Here is where you would select whatever category, your store category. If you wanted to select a default condition, a default brand, a default size type, color, you guys can see here, you would just enter in whatever defaulted information you would want in that listing. You could have your defaulted description, a default price, quantity, return information, defaulted shipping information, and then you would just click save template. And so that's what you would do, and that is how I ended up with all of these templates that are saved. So for instance, if I was doing jeans, I have one that is for men's jeans. And so what I would do is I would click this little drop down and I would say, I want to create a listing of this because that would be me starting a brand new listing of men's jeans and I want to use the template that I already have. So if I were to select create a listing, the next screen that comes up is a brand new listing that has all of the information that I had previously had defaulted in there. See, I've got condition, normal wear. I have the condition in the description automatically defaulted. Most of this information is not defaulted because, of course, every pair of jeans is different. I have a defaulted description, defaulted quantity, best offer, defaulted return policy, and shipping, all of that. So if I was creating a brand new listing from scratch, I would just enter in whatever information I didn't have in there and I would hit list item and be done. And my final tip for you is to just get started. I think that one of the reasons why listing is such a big pain point to resellers is because it's like we dread doing it. And I find that if I dread doing it, that I never get started. But if I can just get myself to the computer to start working one of the listing batches, if I can just start a draft, or if I can just start photos, or if I could just start taking stickers off of stuff, it's like it gets the ball rolling and you can continue on. So if you're really struggling with listing and you're dreading the entire process, just get started. Sit down and start to list one thing. I promise, if you just start listing one thing. It will get the ball rolling and you will start doing more. So that's my other tip if you're really dreading listing, is to just get started. Do one, keep going, don't stop. Right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and videos like it, please give it a thumbs up. That way I know it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and ring the notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post new content. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments below. And don't forget to check the video description. I will put a lot of useful information in there for you as well. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys with my next video. Bye-bye.